now to a Fox News alert. North Korea promising to send unexpected gift packages to the U.S., claiming America is, quote, on the knife's edge of life and death. The threats come in the wake of several recent missile tests by the rogue nation that is now calling on the Trump administration to change its policies toward North Korea. Earlier this week, President Trump vowed to handle the communist dictatorship.
In the wake of North Korea's latest successful missile test, President Trump says the situation, quote, will be handled, but he did not elaborate.
And the U.S. has detected a ballistic missile launch out of North Korea in just the past hour. I want to go straight to Barbara Starr for the very latest information. Barbara, what can you tell us?
Good morning, Anna. The Pentagon telling reporters a short time ago that they have detected a ballistic missile launch out of North Korea.
Mr. Trump, Dr. Carson just referenced the single most important job of the president, the command, the control, and the care of our nuclear forces. And he mentioned the triad. The B-52s are older than I am. The missiles are old. The submarines are aging out. It's an executive order. It's a commander-in-chief decision. What's your priority among our nuclear triad?
Well, first of all, I think we need somebody absolutely that we can trust, who's totally responsible, who really knows what he or she is doing. That is so powerful and so important. And one of the things that I'm frankly most proud of is that in 2003, 2004, I was totally against going into Iraq because you're going to destabilize the Middle East. I called it very strongly, and it was very important. But we have to be extremely vigilant and extremely careful when it comes to nuclear. Nuclear changes the whole ballgame. Frankly, I would have said, get out of Syria, get out. If we didn't have the power of weaponry today, the power is so massive that we can't just leave areas that 50 years ago or 75 years ago we wouldn't care. It was hand-to-hand combat. The biggest problem this world has today is not President Obama with global warming, which is inconceivable. This is what he's saying. The biggest problem we have today is nuclear proliferation, and having some maniac, having some madman go out and get a nuclear weapon. That's, in my opinion, that is the single biggest problem that our country faces.
The three legs of the triad, though, do you have a priority? Because I want to go to Senator Rubio after that.
I think to me, nuclear is just the power, the devastation is very important to me.
Within the last hour, making it just around midnight North Korean time. This is something that had been anticipated. U.S. spy satellites had been watching the area for the last several days, believing there was evidence that the North Koreans were going to do another ballistic missile launch.
U.S. Army Chief of Staff Mark Milley said North Korea is the biggest threat to America, and we can no longer take a wait-and-see attitude.
War in the Korean Peninsula would be terrible. However, a nuclear weapon detonating in Los Angeles would be terrible.
General Milley says the threat is serious and it's not going in a good direction. He says North Korea is a country with a wide variety of missiles, a sizable conventional force, along with chemical and nuclear weapons.
A war on the Korean Peninsula would be highly deadly. It would be horrific. The United States military, in combination with the South Korean military, would utterly destroy the North Korean military, but that would be done at high cost.
But the general says we are at a point in time where tough choices will have to be made.
We are going to have to make conscious decisions that are going to have significant consequences. And I'll just stop there. But it's not going to be a pretty picture, I can tell you that. It will be very violent.
Violent and very likely deadly for all sides involved.
So what is happening now is U.S. intelligence is assessing every piece of information, all the imagery, all the electronic intelligence from the North Korean missile that it can quickly gather to try and determine where it went, how long it flew, what kind of missile it was. Some early indications actually out of Japan, not confirmed yet by CNN, that the North Koreans used a very typical trajectory that they fired to the east into the Sea of Japan, the East Sea, but that still has to be confirmed. I have to tell you that one of the things in the last 24 hours the Pentagon was very concerned about is that this could be the second intercontinental ballistic missile launch by the North Koreans. You know, that long range capability. The first one they fired was just on July 4th. So if they have done another ICBM so quickly after the first test, that is going to be something for the U.S. to contemplate. They've already revised the intelligence assessment by about 2 years that North Korea could have a capable long-range missile by sometime in early 2018, and that's only months away. So we will see in the coming hours, probably fairly quickly, what kind of missile this was and if this really, again, changes the equation about the North Korean threat. Anna?
And Barbara, remind our viewers what the U.S. response was the last time when they had that ballistic missile launch, the ICBM that you mentioned. That was on July 4th, just a few weeks ago.
Well, it was, and it did spark a great deal of concern because if North Korea really has the capability for an ICBM long range, that means that they could achieve their goal someday of really being able to hit the United States with a missile, with a nuclear warhead on top. Let's be clear, the missile that they fired back on July 4th has that theoretical range and capability. Whether or not it can actually hit a target with precision at that kind of range, 5,000 miles plus away, that's a technical engineering question, but perhaps of small comfort because the North Koreans are rapidly being able to demonstrate this capability. This now puts it square in President Trump's the pile of decisions to make about what he wants to do. If this new missile today does prove to be another long-range missile, U.S. policy by the State Department and the White House has been to focus on diplomacy, to focus on pressuring the Chinese, to pressure the North Koreans. But I'd remind everybody, it was just a few days ago, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff publicly said he was always ready to take military options to the president if it came to that. And the general thinking has been, if North Korea takes steps that are considered so imminently threatening to the U.S., so imminently destabilizing to global security, that the U.S. might have to contemplate military options to deal with North Korea. They don't want to do it. Defense Secretary Mattis has been very clear. A war with the North Korean regime would be, utter disaster, utter catastrophe. Tens of thousands, if not millions of people could die in South Korea. The North Koreans, no telling how they would react to anything like that. But look, and we still don't know, if this ballistic missile that was launched just within the last hour does prove to be another ICBM, long range, capable someday of hitting the U.S., it does present the President of the United States with a number of things to think about if North Korea has been able to test launch 2 of those within a month.
Well, the President's made it very clear that all options are on the table. The President has made that clear, had me make that clear when I visited South Korea earlier this year. The continued provocations by the rogue regime in North Korea are unacceptable.
North Korean threat has not left us. It is rapidly growing more dangerous. We've seen 2 ICBMs fired in just the last month. Further action is required.
Counter is left 20 degrees, no new course given, sir. Very well. Sorry, sir.
It has been created a dangerous situation in which the thermonuclear war may break out at any moment.
Are we preparing plans for a preventive war, right? A war that would prevent North Korea from threatening the United States with a nuclear weapon. And the president's been very clear about it. He said he's not going to tolerate North Korea being able to threaten the United States. Look at the nature of that regime. If they have nuclear weapons that can threaten the United States, it's intolerable from the president's perspective. So of course, we have to provide all options to do that. And that includes a military option.
The energy, the faith, the devotion which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can truly light the world.
There's a number of flashpoints in the world, dangerous flashpoints in the world, that is confronting our country and challenging our national security. But probably the most dangerous right now is North Korea, because they are developing an ICBM. And they are continuing to try to develop a miniaturized nuclear weapon. They have nuclear weapons, and so they're trying to develop a delivery system for those nuclear weapons. And it's obvious that they have the potential right now to be able to reach not only the Pacific region, but obviously reach even the United States. That's a direct threat to the national security of the United States.
Owing to the U.S. reckless move for bolstering up its nuclear force and modernizing them, instability and the danger of nuclear war are now escalating on Earth. The DPRK is ready to react to any mode of war desired by the American.
The total outflow for you guys? 8-0. 8-0, even. Copy. Be advised, TACC is already spinning flight plans for everybody to go from Wake to Hickam and Wake to Brisbane. Contact. Saber 2. Contact. Saber 2. Guys doing? We're still sitting at 48. She's kind of riding the struggle bus right now. Gotcha. We just passed the exit point, so we're tracking towards total of 84. Yeah, I just put the request on for that next one through the box, because I don't think she's going to make it by the exit.